Hey, yo. I feel like a battle rapper right now.
Are we starting?
Yeah.
You know all you gotta do is tell me what you're sipping on.
Yeah.
And I promise that I'm gonna keep it coming all night long.
Bust it.
Yeah. Guys, what is up?
Yeah.
We both started singing at the same time. This is Callbacks. Shout out all the call leagues. Now you got me putting my hands like a news reporter.
It's time to scam. Yeah, it's getting cold outside. The holidays is coming. We scamming, dog.
I am your co-host, Sam Salem.
Yeah.
And to my right, the camera's left,
Mr. Shiesty.
is everybody's favorite future stepdaddy.
Yeah. Mean stepdaddy, stand up right now.
The only man who can tell it like it is and let you leave with a smile on your face.
How you know that?
It's Deacon Dan, a.k.a. Pastor Dan, a.k.a. Lil Dan, a.k.a. Danny Sellers.
How you know that?
And the crowd goes crazy.
That's crazy.
I would just like to start off by saying,
yeah.
This was a little last minute. We didn't know if we were recording today or not. So I was assuming I'd have time to go home from school. I was teaching today.
That boy's musty.
I did not have a chance to shave, didn't do my hair. I'm wearing the same top, maybe even same jeans and shoes, honestly, as 2 episodes ago with Liz Blanc.
That's a disappointment.
Fellow teacher. So I would like to take a moment before God to apologize for outfit repeating.
For the return fit. That's crazy. You about to get canceled.
You,
the last episode.
You, Lizzie McGuire, are an outfit repeater. Do you know
we
Lizzie,
outside.
Do you know Lizzie McGuire?
Thick Lizzie? Yeah. Yeah, brother.
The TV show Lizzie McGuire?
But
Hilary Duff.
Yeah, Hillary.
Actually, I saw something. I saw like some tweet that went viral.
I saw him too.
Where, no, I didn't see a picture. I just saw, it was a thing on Black Twitter where they were talking about how it was said that black men appreciate Hilary Duff more than white men.
Yeah, 1,000%.
That's a thing.
Hillary one of the coldest.
Really?
She's okay. I mean,
forever invited to the cookout.
I don't know if it's a cookout situation because that's a lot, and I feel like we giving way too many white people invites to the cookout. I think we need to limit some of the invites.
I would say I've been invited too many times too quickly there's definitely somebody.
That's how slavery happens. Like, this is too much.
I was on tour with someone and she walked up to me. We never met each other before. We in the hotel lobby and she saw that I was wearing Jordans. She's like, I see the shoes. You're definitely invited to the cookout. And I'm like, that's
bare minimum.
Of wearing Jordans?
That's what happens to the Native Americans.
That's just called appropriation.
Yeah, you just can't just give white people invites to your cookout. That's how you get Thanksgiving, slavery. You got to, sprinkle those in a little bit. But no, didn't mean to bring the mood down. But yeah, sorry, brother. I'm in a dangerous mood. Hoodies up. It's holiday season. A lot of what Drake say. I'm more worried about fathers. Worried about Christmas in August. That's me.
I'm unfamiliar with that line.
This is about scamming and robbing, potentially.
I know all the old people. He's unprofessional. He's got his hood on.
Yeah, I am unprofessional. I'm actually the most professional at being unprofessional.
So real quick, before we get into mental health, last episode we were talking about what song were you putting when you burned a CD for your little crush?
Yeah.
What song were you sliding?
Love in This Club. On
the CD. Dan, that's why I was saying Love in This Club. I was honestly blasting that song on the way to You've Reopened My Eyes. I always knew it was a great song.
It's verses. It's multiple slap verses too.
Yeah.
Stop playing with me.
It's like one of those things where it's like, well, you haven't had a peanut butter jelly sandwich in a long time. And then you eat and you're like, this goes hard.
Yeah, that and hot dogs. Hot dogs slap. A good, decent hot dog is delicious.
Dog, I made a social media post about this. Midwest gas stations, undefeated when it comes to food. A breaded hot dog. A gas station hot dog, judge me for it. I don't care. I was living my best life. Little $2. So anyway, people were commenting on the songs. First one, I got to start off with a crazy one. Mm-hmm. I love you because you follow me on social media and thank you so much. But this person said, I don't like songs. I might put a narrated poem or audiobook that conveys my feelings.
To your
crush?
Loved one? But that's chaos.
First off, what's most concerning to me is I don't like songs. Like in this setting, or you're just in your bedrooms
silent. Listen to room tone every day like this.
Honestly, you might just be emotionally healthy. I hate myself too much to just sit with my thoughts. So I'm not.
That feels like the literal That's insanity. Just like the same sounds every day, no music, no vibes. That's crazy. But shout out to you. If it works, maybe it works. Maybe you got a sexy little sweet voice and the Yamins love you or the Mr. Yamins love it and it works for you. But I feel like that seems like a zero riz kind of activity.
Zero riz kind of activity. I like how much often you're using riz lately.
Zero riz 30. I'm new. I'm hip. I'm fresh.
You're back in the streets.
Yeah, I'm back in the streets. I'm young. My cheekbones are popping.
On the Ozempic. This is another one, a write-in. She also wanted to stay anonymous, but she said it was cool to share.
Thank you.
This goes to Danny, because Danny, the whole time he was talking about he got broken up with via song, and I was just like, yeah, middle school, high school, and it turns out he was a college graduate.
Okay.
So, and honestly, I honestly judge her more than you. What if she wanted to break up with you? Her loss, poor taste.
Hashtag.
But, man.
Madame, actually.
We said it last time, but a whole college degree. Anyway, this person wrote in, I was 21. Technically, he broke up with me in an email.
Oh, this is not me. I thought.
No.
At first, I thought you was. For a hot second, I thought you found a girl.
Oh, a girl.
Yeah, I was like, yo, how did Sam? You really be provided, motherfucker?
That'd be crazy if I found the woman you were talking about, and she's like, technically, he broke. No.
Right.
This is a woman who is sharing in the experience of being broken up with via song.
Gotcha.
And she said she was 21.
To clarify,
technically, he broke up with an email. Look, if you need two-factor authentication. Yeah. In order to read your breakup message, they're doing you way dirty.
If you have a fucking signature at the bottom of your breakup note, you're a American Psycho reincarnated.
I know this man was putting blessings as his sign off. Not sincerely, not thanks. He put blessings. He technically broke up with me in an email, but then he said his G-Chat song. I wasn't even aware you could put a song for G-Chat.
He's living in 2068. That's crazy.
That was not a feature that I was aware of. He put a G-Chat song, his G-Chat song to Goodbye by Plank Eye, which Plank Eye is a Christian punk band.
No, sir. This is crazy.
And the song, I looked up the lyrics and it's truly like the first half is like saying goodbye forever and the last half is like, I set my eyes upon the Lord. And
you got left for God is crazy.
So hey, I'm just dancing with God till Mr. Right cuts in.
That is a crazy excuse. When you put it like, I got to get right with God. I can't be with you no more. What can you say, dog? Like, I got to find God first.
My brothers in Christ, please don't break up with women over Gmail, okay?
Right. The Gmail, first of all, is brother, text, call, send a note even.
Text is still a little crazy for me, but like if you were like dating. Anyway,
email is the worst.
Yeah, and I said that's a diabolical combination. Sounds like you're better off for it. And she said, "Oh, definitely. Actually, I'm a lesbian now."
Nice. Amen.
And the fact that she like inferred that I'm a lesbian now, as if she wasn't back then, like if she wasn't closeted back then, it kind of made it sound like, no, getting broken up via Gmail with this man. Like, you know what?
It was definitely the 13th reason. At least.
I'm a lesbian now.
It's the 13th reason.
Which is incredible. Yeah, and then the other songs that people were putting in, you know, just some classics, some Lifehouse.
Slap.
You and Me by Lifehouse. Cause it's you and me and all of I just wanted to sing again.
Okay.
Some Hannah Montana, some Taylor Swift.
Hannah Montana got breakup songs or Miley songs?
No, these are the songs that you'd slide to your crush.
Oh.
Going back and forth. We kind of lumped them together. And then for some
Hannah.
And then Prototype by Outkast.
Slap. That's a slap.
Sorry.
That's a coochie song.
Outkast. I was not familiar with the poetry.
Yeah.
I hope that you're the one. If not, you are the prototype. We'll tiptoe to the sun and do things I know you like.
That's probably in the Black wedding. Maybe top 10 is a stretch, but it's like top 15.
Yeah, it's an honorable mention.
Wedding. Yeah, like you'll hear that in some good Black, 25, 30 and up weddings. You hear that, like a lot of Anita Baker, a lot of Babyface. Babyface was like major. Some John Legend here and there, but Prototype is one of them ones for sure. But it's one of those ones that is so popular that if you ever were to claim it as to one of your shorties, the song is kind of like, it's too popular of a song kind of to say this is our song.
To be like your song. But it is just a song where it's like, if it's playing, it's like, yeah, we're in love.
Like, I feel
Let's
like
be in love right now.
Yeah, whatever your song is to your person, it can't be the most popular song because then it's also just not that unique.
Yeah.
It kind of has to be like a little bit of a B-side or...
Yeah, your song has to be like a medium, not maybe a super deep cut, but maybe at least a medium cut.
It can't be their biggest hit.
Medium rare mental health and medium rare cuts.
Yeah, exactly. Tenderloin cuts.
Exactly. Speaking of mental health, our favorite segment, trademark, Danny Sellers mental health check. What's our mental health on this fine day that the Lord has made?
I don't know how my mental health is. Like, look, y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you. Your boy's just been running on fumes. My mental health feels like fumes. You know when your gas tank is on E? Then you look at it as, we still got, a couple more miles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on E.
You're the guy who's like, it says 0 miles left, and you're like, yeah, but they really designed it so there's still 50 miles. Right. It's just to make sure people don't break down.
Right. My mental health is, I know my car. I know that's my mental health right now.
The passenger's over there like fidgeting, like, we're going to break down. You're like, I know my car.
Yeah. I don't know it, but I know my car. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, dog.
You're just gonna be confident.
I'm just, editing stuff and trying to get up, man, and really trying to just keep things simple too. I feel like I got a lot of stuff that I'm kind of projecting and thinking about for next year, maybe moving, doing this and that or whatever. But I'm trying to just like be in the moment and do what I got to do.
Yeah,
in the day,
make things happen.
Yeah, man. So it's but yeah, it's been good. Other than that, though, I can't complain too much.
I love that. Speaking of getting up, for those new to the program, getting up, that means doing live performance of stand-up comedy. Yeah. For those unfamiliar, since Danny and I both, we do stuff during the day, but tonight. So I spent all day teaching, and now tonight I am performing. It's called the IRL show. It's a show for teenagers. It's a 13+ show.
What are you gonna even talk? Do you do crowd work? What do you think?
So they asked not to do too much crowd work, but it's like kind of I just feel like that's the thing to do with 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like what I'm gonna do. Like here's the thing about being married, kids.
Right.
Hey, when you buy a house, they're just gonna be like, what? What are you talking about?
Just gonna like hit a bunch of TikTok dances.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna roast them. I was like, hey, this bro got L Riz. And they'd be like, ah! Sorry, I'm feeling a little.
Explode.
He knows that word. Dude, honestly, speaking of earlier, you're saying like some black people giving cookout invitations just like too easily.
Yeah.
Gen Z, honestly, sometimes you just work in one or two of their phrases and they're either you're the coolest person ever or they're like, wow, you're the biggest tryhard.
Yeah.
But if it lands, it's just like,
you
just got to hit them one time with the, bro think he's got W Riz, and they're like, dang, he's one of us.
I don't want to be around any teenagers.
Yeah, that's a good thing that you're not.
In my free time.
Yeah, not in the wild anyway. Until you enter your stepdaddy season.
Yeah, then I'm gonna have to step up. I'm gonna be the man that step. I'm not the stepdad, then I'm gonna be the dad.
The dad who stepped up. You're gonna be wearing that shirt, doing like the knee stance with the fist on the forehead.
The front of our podcast, like I'm the man that stepped up.
That's amazing.
All right, let's get into this, the guest today.
Yeah, we got a lovely guest, a true dear friend of both of ours. Yeah. Let's get to it.
Millennial dads.
I'm a millennial dad.
Yeah. More like millennial dad.
This boy a fool with it. And we are here with our lovely guest.
Oh, sorry, this is awkward.
Apologies.
And
am I good? Do I not need it to be?
Are we actually okay? We'll redo this.
No, Sam, you wanted to fucking start. We can start.
I just thought it was such a good line. I thought.
Well, yeah, we're gonna keep it in, bro. Keep talking. Help us.
Just cut it together, man.
Happy Zad.
I'm so out of sorts. I almost just said we're here with our guest and went straight into who it was without giving a proper info. I just broke my mic.
Okay, now we have to stop.
It's just the stand.
Okay.
Who works?
Sorry, you can cut all of this. We're gonna restart now.
Who works here?
These are some beautiful chairs. I'm definitely robbing the place.
Yeah, I'll keep it on lock for you.
Okay.
Sorry.
You can right here.
Yeah, thank you, Denise. Just start here, please. Thank you so much.
And we are here.
Yes.
With a beautiful man. Let's get a proper introduction like we like to do. Danny, don't you love when I do proper introductions?
No, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess we've never talked about it before. That's the first time I've heard it. I'm really self-conscious. Here we go. Our guest today is comedian, writer, and elected official.
Oh, wow.
Whose writing you can read in publications such as Maxim Magazine, as well as see him on networks like Fuse TV.
Naked stuff.
A DC area native, he's back in LA after performing his hour-long one-man show at the esteemed Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Yeah.
We are trying not to make a big hubbub over how flabbergasted we are to welcome to the pod a man who produces so much earwax, doctors have to use an ear spoon on him.
That's crazy.
The neighbor of Tony, as well as Glenn and Joe from down the block, the block down, and former employee of Austin Grill, Bethesda, Maryland's top Tex-Mex restaurant. It's Julian M. Stern.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or, as he was known to the non-English speaking, foreign-born new classmate in elementary school, Big Scary Monster.
That was me.
Shout out to Julian.
I will be honest. I saw Kristen was showing me something on her iPad, and I saw a message come in from you.
Nice.
And so I knew that there was a little bit of back channeling going on.
Kristen is partner. That Big Scary Monster, that's who I got that from. All the rest was my own finds.
Really?
100%.
Wait, where did you get specifically that Tony, Glenn, and Joe?
I keep my ear to the ground, brother. The internet's a vast, deep, cavernous place.
I talk about that on the internet someplace?
Or maybe I got other sources. You'll never know. But
Jesus.
Kristen did give me the Big Scary Monster.
Wait, you didn't get ear spoon from Kristen?
I did not get ear spoon from your partner
Where on
either.
earth did you get ear spoon?
He does this every episode.
I just want y'all to know that Julian has listened to at least one episode of this podcast before.
I think 3. Parts of 3 of them.
That's good.
yeah.
I'll take that. That's more than most people.
You two in the scene right now, in our class, so to speak, are the ones who are, I think, trying the hardest to do the podcast thing and make it look good and feel good. This is the one that feels like it could blow up.
I would fucking hope so. Thank you.
I mean, I know you're both trying really hard.
That is
to happen.
Why does that sound like such a backhanded
A
compliment?
little too hard, but yeah, we are
trying
trying.
so
We're
hard.
trying.
Yeah.
We're at least trying.
Are we trying? Because most days we just show up and we're like, I guess we got to shoot a podcast today.
Yeah.
No planning.
There is such a low bar when the
Yeah, 100%.
the people who are best at it are the Nelk boys. Like that. Those are
right.
Those are some truly mentally ill bigots, and they're the most famous podcasters in the world.
As I drink their seltzer.
Oh, is that theirs?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a cool
But why I bring up you've listened to the podcast before, because I feel like you've kind of been a little like, sure, Sam, I'm sure you do great deep dives. And to be complete, like usually I only have like a day or two to prepare these, sometimes a week. To be completely peel back the curtain, I called you a few hours ago while I was at school.
Yeah.
And so in between like passing periods and then like on my drive over here is when I did the research. So I just don't play
Sam
with
took
me.
that, but Sam took that personally, and he
Don't play with me.
I heard Sam called me, and I could hear the electronic bell, and he was like, "I gotta go." Like I could hear the students are
the
arriving
school
now.
bell.
like,
Yeah,
like
the
in a
school bell.
prison yard, like all the kids, the prisoners got out.
I will regularly. I'll call Sam, knowing he's at work,
Nice.
or like not being sure if he's at work, and he'll text me within 5 seconds and say, "Hey, sorry, I'm in class. What's up?" And I'm like, "You're the teacher.
So
You're not the
Okay,
one
but
who should be saying like that's some student behavior."
Substitute teacher. So most of the time I have explained what the lesson is for the day, and it's passing out the worksheet, and they're working quietly, and I'm patrolling the classroom. You can text while you patrol.
yeah,
But allegedly you can. I don't actually do that.
it's all about worksheets. Worksheets in a good authoritative voice. You're good for that. You can
I was pretty proud today. I was silencing some kids with just a glare.
Nah, ooh, that boy.
Give us the glare. Well, no, give us the glare into one of these into
I'm
whatever
not sure
camera
I can
is.
turn it on right now because I'm notoriously bad at acting.
Sam,
and I was
do it.
I was
Call him
so
something
filled-
one of his
Hey,
students would call
Mr.
him.
Sam. You just look hungry. That was.
Yeah. Well,
How do you eat when you're at work? Do you like bring stuff, or can you go get food real quick?
I usually bring lunches. I didn't eat it.
Yeah, well-
I didn't have time to eat mine today, so I brought it to this podcast studio and it's sitting in the.
Please don't forget that.
But Costco chicken fried rice heated up.
Are you one of those? Are you one of those
before.
teachers that when the kids talk, you eat, you're like, you see those memes where it's like,
Oh yeah, hold on, baby. Hold on. Dog, I don't
okay.
try to eat in front of the kids anymore because one time I did and the kid went, You were hungry, huh?
And you gotta finish. At that point, you gotta. But now you gotta slow down. But
And
you're
I'm
starving.
like, sorry, I'm a human being who, yes, does have hunger.
I like how you made your voice deeper for this
You was
dude.
hungry, huh?
That's a scary.
Because that's what they do. You were hungry, huh? They'd like throw their voice a little lower. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
Delonte, I was hungry.
I wasn't implying
He was black.
anything. No,
I thought-
it was a nice improv scene. You gave us the voice.
Yeah.
I commented upon it, and then after I commented on it,
Yeah.
then Delonte became.
I waited until
okay.
for the clip. I waited
I'm
5 seconds just in case.
I'm glad you're here because it'll always be a nice little riff, and then Danny does
Racism.
some turn to make me sound racist, and then I have to be like, I just want to let the listeners know.
Yeah, I'm glad that I can be here so that you and I can
team up,
gang up on Danny.
Tell Danny Woods.
Because
Okay, I'm also not going on this either.
yeah.
Danny's in the minority is what I'm saying here.
Perpetually.
I do have to forget that, or I do have to remember that I do believe that this podcast could take off, and so anything I say here can and will be used against me.
Okay, you're acting like we have like 0 listeners. We got some listeners, brother.
I forget. Well, do you want to say in the hundreds and the thousands?
Hey, man.
100, good, comfortable 100.
Comfy hundos.
Yeah, which is probably in the grand scheme of listeners.
By comfortable, do you mean it's like we are like this is a good amount in the hundreds, or by comfortable, it's like we are staying in the hundreds for a little while. We are comfortable.
No, we've had it go up into 1,000 between YouTube and downloads audio. It's gone up in
this is going to be the first one to hit 10,000.
Please do.
10,000 listens.
We better say something crazy so we can get the.
I think I've already done a little bit of it.
Okay, thank you.
You're right. I would like
You're right.
to get this podcast a little on track.
Okay, sorry.
Not actually, though.
Can I also, before you do that, and I'm really bad at this when I'm on podcasts, is I take, because, I was the host of Word with Friend, which went for over 100 episodes. So I don't really respect podcasts until they hit that 100 mark.
Nice.
But you guys are getting there.
Some illustrious guests, such as Melissa Villasenor of SNL fame.
Before SNL.
Moses Storm of HBO Max and many acting
Before
appearances
HBO
fame.
Max.
You were really on the ground. You really launched a lot of careers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The old Word with Friend bump. But I was going to say that there's a lot of, we have a lot of very private conversations, and that if things go crazy, I could say something very wild that could end this podcast. And so I just want that tension to be felt.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. Sam gets a little worried about it.
Julian appeared on me.
Yeah, I like it. I posted a clip I posted about liking black ladies on Delta. He was like, Sam was like,
that is not what I was worried about. Don't even make it about. What? Danny said that the Spirit flight attendants, and you were specifically talking female, don't even look good. And I was like, whoa, hold up. Their job is not for not to look good for you, Danny. They're at their job doing their job. That is what
Julian, he was rattled. I told him, I clicked it. He's like, I got to see this dog before he posted.
Wait, you thought you looked bad?
Yeah.
I was making sure that I was not culpable and that Danny didn't do any magic editing to cut out the parts where I was like, hey, I just want to let everyone know I'm not going down.
Him just shaking his head like,
Yeah, you could have cut later and been like, you found some other soundbite. Anyway, thank you for bringing that up, Julian. Let's get to our favorite segment, Save the Date,
Suspense.
where we give dates from people's lives and we talk about them. This is the date it was published to the internet anyways. Not the actual day it happened, but April 24th, 2013. Would you like to take your guess as what this is?
If it was published to the internet in 2013, I assume it was one of the big three, one of the 3 times that I wrote a very big story for Maxim magazine. I was not just doing my assistant
Maxim
photo shoot booking.
Yes, it was. You spent a whole day with then had changed his name to Snoop Lion, as we all know, Snoop Dogg.
Second.
So yeah, you interviewed Kelly Pickler.
Yes, on the phone. But she was a wonderful
phone interview. Do you know who Kelly Pickler is? She's a country artist who got pretty famous when American Idol still made people super famous, even if they didn't win. Like in the middle of the season, she got plastic surgery. She got a boob job, and
in the middle of the
season, and they're like,
"Where did these titties come from?"
They're like, "Hey, you look different." And anyway, you got to interview her. Mark Wahlberg.
I didn't know about that.
Did you actually talk to him, or was that all written?
That was all like email. I just edited his answers down basically.
Right. Okay. So you've interviewed some big, and you were part of the Maxim Hot 100. And now, no longer that's a thing.
I think it is still a thing. I haven't had anything to do with it in a long time. It was a different time when I had something to do with it. It was my first job out of college, basically.
Nice.
And I would do the Maxim Hot 200 every year, where my boss would just lean out and say, "Hey, Julian, we got to start working on the Hot 100." So I would do
200.
I would do the rough draft, basically.
So real quick, for those unfamiliar, the Maxim Hot 100 is just Maxim magazine would rank the 100 hottest.
We would take 100, specifically women.
Nice.
And we would take, very accomplished entertainers, singers, actors, etc., and we would rank them based on their looks.
Only looks.
So problematic.
Very problematic.
I would love to see the guy who's like holding on by a thread, still doing the list, like it's draft day war room, like him and the guy that works at Sears still. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are just like AOL, like the network engineer at AOL's. Like these guys, I'm the last guy.
They're just saying at least we're not Blockbuster.
Right, yeah, right. Like you're one sneeze away from being Blockbuster.
Yeah.
So you spent a whole day with Snoop Dogg. Just walk us through that. Tell us the crazy moments, the fun moments.
Set the day up.
Well, it was my first time interviewing someone in person. So I had maybe done Kelly Pickler at that point and done some other I interviewed Michael Bay, but that was on the phone. There was a lot of phoners, and I got a call from the editor-in-chief. And he said, "Hey, we would like you to do this story with Snoop." It was a feature where you give a celebrity $848 cash, which was just a fun number that somebody picked randomly, and watch them as they spend it. And so I had to go to the Wells Fargo across from my office and take out $1,000 cash out of my own account, which I didn't have any money. Maybe I had more money than I do now, but I've pretty much stayed close to broke for my whole adult life. And then I just had to walk around with almost $1,000 cash.
Your entire life saving.
Right.
Yeah, basically.
Just to hand to Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting reimbursed after. That's what
Eventually. And I did get reimbursed.
And real quick, before you get into the story, why you for this?
Yeah, well, they called you up specifically.
Yeah,
you're the young.
Put you in the bad spot on purpose, or what?
I was the young person, and also I was free. I was I was getting paid to be an assistant. They probably should have paid me to write this, but I think they just didn't have budget for a writer, and my boss could have done it, but she was a good writer, good editor, but I think she would have been less along for the whole idea was let's have a crazy story.
Yeah,
so
okay.
she was probably I don't really want to
fly on the wall type vibe.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Or more even kind of gonzo. Like another one that I don't think you were going to talk about this, but I went to Vegas and spent a night with the guys from Pawn Stars.
Wow.
That's why you got your inner lip tattoo.
Yeah, so I have an inner lip tattoo.
Act like I don't know these
K-Town, Kensington, Maryland, that I got with Corey. Big Hoss as part of the story. So he has H-Town for Henderson, Nevada. I have K-Town for Kensington, Maryland.
The star of Pawn Stars.
And people always say, "Julian, don't those lip tattoos fade?" They're supposed to. But this was 11 years ago now, so I'm keeping this thing for life. Anyway, yeah, I think it was just because I was young and they thought that I would do an okay job and that if I didn't, then they would be able to edit it, but that I would do some crazy stuff.
It was just you and a camera guy, a shooter?
Yeah. I mean, there were some publicists also. Yeah.
But it was video of it?
There's cameras of it. There's not video of it.
Still photos.
Yeah.
Okay. So walk us through the day with Snoop Dogg. What was?
He said we were supposed to meet at one dispensary that wasn't even, I guess it was medical at that point. And at like a half hour before we were supposed to meet there, I got a call from his publicist saying, "Hey, Snoop's not going to be there. Meet us at this place in 3 hours." And I had been waiting outside this dispensary for 45 minutes because I was like, "You are not going to be late for this. This is your big break." And
looking like the police, with a notebook, looking at people.
And so I waited, and then I went to it's at Sunset in La Brea. It was a place called T-Shirts Plus, and it's just you can buy T-shirts plus,
a bunch of T-shirts,
shorts, shoes. I think they had some like nice denim. Maybe that's why Snoop went there. But
Is it a place he frequented or?
Yeah. And I asked him and I was like, how long have you been coming here? And he was like, oh, about 7 years. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. You've been famous for much longer than that. Like if he'd been going there for 30 years, it would make sense.
A lot of those guys wear stuff once and then they never would wear it again too. Back then. So maybe they're just like, I'm gonna get 100 fucking t-shirts and wear them all one time for like $200.
Mm-hmm. I remember there were some green jeans that his management was like, you're not going to wear that, Snoop. And he was like, no, with the green Stacy's. And I was like, what are Stacy's?
Stacey Adams.
Stacey Adams. Yeah. I found out that day. Yeah. So yeah, I show up at that t-shirt shop. He's there. He's there with Joe, who is his bodyguard, driver, first cousin, and the artist who did the iconic doggy style art.
Oh, the cover art.
Yeah.
He's a real jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm.
That's tight.
And I hand him the money. He walks away from me. I don't think he really understood that I was the reporter for a while. People just literally come out of nowhere. Snoop, can I roll you a blunt? Can I please roll you? Every 5 minutes, somebody was showing up and just materializing blunt and saying, let me roll this for you.
What a life.
He got some stuff there. And then we walked out to Sunset and La Brea, which Sunset and La Brea, pretty big intersection, very visible. A lot of people.
2 big streets.
Traffic fully stopped because everyone sees, oh my God, that's Snoop Dogg. People are just parking and getting out of cars. All sorts of people. One guy gets off the bus in the paper jumpsuit straight from prison. He had just imagine getting out of prison.
The first day. First day.
Yeah.
You see Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
that's a great re-entry into the world.
It's worth it. It was worth it.
They had a great time. And Snoop Dogg gave him, I don't know, $100 probably because he just had the cash to give out.
Your cash.
My cash. I was like, yeah, that's my money. There was I remember there was it was kind of like that, like post the Hills era where everyone was trying, like TikTok didn't exist yet, but like all the like 25-year-olds in LA were kind of trying to get their reality show. And there was a guy and a girl who would be TikTok stars now, I think, but he was kind of just it felt like he was trying to some degree, pimp her out to Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yeah. Yikes. Nice.
And I remember they walked away and Snoop Dogg said, that's too much bitch for that man. And I was like,
that's a quote.
That's incredible to be able to have heard that firsthand from Snoop Dogg.
That would be the whole article. That would just be by Julian Stern.
Too much bitch for one. That'll be my memoir. Yeah. Too much bitch for one man. Julian Stern.
That's phenomenal.
I'm the bitch and the man in that case.
That's crazy. Sam's cringing, so don't say that anymore.
You know what? What can I say? I'm a clean boy.
Yeah.
Continue.
You're becoming the minority, Sam. You can cut that out. You can just have me say you're becoming the minority, Sam.
So then what would
somebody said, hey Snoop, we have a dispensary over here. Do you want to come smoke some weed in our dispensary? And he just ran across La Brea and I was like, we don't have clearance for that. And the photographer was like, Snoop Dogg is running across La Brea right now. Would you like to follow him or not? And I was like, that is a great journalism tip.
Exactly.
And so I just ran after him, smoked a little bit with Snoop inside this dispensary. It was right behind Crazy Girls. I believe it has since closed and perhaps closed because of that. Because I got an email like a couple weeks later and they were like, hey, we heard that you came as part of a magazine with a photographer. We can't have you printing this story. And I was like, oh, I sort of have to. And I think I asked my boss and she was like, no, they gave you permission. You did whatever you wanted to.
Well, you can't smoke in dispensaries, is that the thing?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And also it was this was before it was recreationally legal. And so they were just giving out weed to, I didn't have my card. Snoop probably did have his card.
And this whole time, is he like acknowledging you at all during the day? He's like, what's up, white boy? Like, what's up, Julian?
He did not know my name. He did call me white boy at one point, I think. He wasn't really acknowledging me at that point. I was trying to just follow him around. Excuse me, sir, can I ask you a couple more questions? And finally, after the dispensary, he said, okay, because I was like, I need to talk to you about the album.
Yeah.
Reincarnated.
Okay.
It was the Snoop Lion album. And So he said, okay, let's get in the car and we'll drive and find a homeless person to give the rest of this money to. And there were like $500 left. And by the rules of the game, you're not supposed to be allowed to do that. But I wasn't going to tell Snoop that.
Yeah, you can't give.
I think I casually was like, yeah, oh, you're supposed to sort of like spread it out. We're supposed to do a bunch of different things. And he was like, no, we're just going to find someone. And so we get in his car and we're sitting in the back. We start driving east on Sunset. And he's looking around and I'm asking him stupid music questions. I don't remember what I asked. I don't think they were good questions. I remember he was telling me about how sometimes you got to sort of like drive around in the car with the album and like decide which ones are going to be like stadium and like very basic stuff that I think he was just like, oh, this kid doesn't know anything about music. Right. I'm just going to give him the most basic. He didn't really want to answer a lot of questions for me. And at some point, we lost the photographer and the publisher or the publicist in the other car. And they're calling Snoop. He's looking at his phone.
Alone with Snoop and his bodyguard.
And Joe, yeah. And he's looking at his phone. They're not picking up. And then they call me. And I was like, oh, I'll get this real quick. And they were like, hey, we need to be with you. You need to make Joe pull over. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, like, this is it, Julian. You got to be firm about this. And I was like, Joe, you need to pull over. And he just didn't say anything. I was like, hey, Joe, we need the photographer and the publicist here. I like took a tone with Snoop's bodyguard. Yeah. I took a tone with Snoop's bodyguard.
23 at this point.
Yeah. And I was like, Joe, we really need to pull over. And he was like, you really need to shut the fuck up. And he reached into his center console, pulled out a switchblade. And while driving with one hand, is holding me at knife point. And I was like, oh, yes, I'm so sorry. You're right. I apologize very much. And then he made it look like he was going to stab me in the thigh, but he flipped it in. He did a little bit of sleight of hand. And so he just hit me with the hilt of the knife.
What a fucking...
But it was so fast that...
That's an old head move.
It was. I didn't want to say that to him. But I didn't realize that I wasn't being stabbed. I thought I was being stabbed. And so I went... And it was, and they started laughing so much.
Like I just did.
Yeah.
Were you just like, am I in shock? Where is the blood? And you realized.
Yeah. It was horrifying.
That's
and then Joe said, you're gonna want to clean up that seat when you get out. And I was like, yeah. And then we were cool. Then we were all laughing. And my favorite thing that happened that night was at some point there was music on. He had a CD, a burned CD, in the car, and he was like, you know what song this is? And it sounded very orchestral, and I was like, I thought, it was a sample and a beat was about to drop, and I was like, no, I can do this. I got to prove my worth to Snoop. And Joe was like, he's too young. He doesn't know what this is. I was like, no, I don't know. And he was like, it's the Little Rascals theme song. And it was just the Little Rascals, the original Little Rascals theme song that the Snoop likes to listen to when he's driving. And then we talked about the Little Rascals for like 5 minutes. He said, Spanky was a motherfucker.
He's like, yo, it's a banger.
No,
he did. Like buckwheat, cuz.
Yeah. Talked about buckwheat, talked about how Darla was never, I think he said Darla was never given alfalfa, none of that pussy.
Nice.
Something like that.
I'd hope so.
As Snoop would talk about the Little Rascals.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Jeez Louise.
I could only that you might have been a precursor to the Vice White Boys interview. Remember like the Vice Land, the magazine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they would put like these white boys from like Brooklyn and have them follow like Chief Keef. And, like, all these kids from like Chicago and shit, like Freddie Gibbs. Is like that was Vice Land. Like for like 4 years, the whole programming was putting white boys from Brooklyn in chaotic situations.
Yeah, I think looking back, Maxim was probably just trying to steal that idea. I think that's why they were like, oh, we have one of those.
Right.
He's not from Brooklyn, but he looks like it.
Yeah, maybe.
He feels like it. Yeah.
I wonder if it was the same. This is 2013.
Yeah.
I feel like Vice Landley's, the TV show, might have been after that.
Maybe.
It might have been after that.
Might have been the trendsetter.
Was
Maxim then like happy with your work? They're like, great.
Yeah, I remember my boss was mad at me because we wound up just giving the money away we wound up all the way downtown because they realized that it was like the second of the month and it was like, oh, everyone got their check, so nobody's out. And so we were driving through Echo Park at some point and Snoop was like, you see how Joe's driving pretty fast right now, Julian? Or he didn't say Julian because he didn't know my name. See how Joe's driving pretty fast? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, that's because it was like, that's because this area is dangerous for certain motherfuckers, and we are certain motherfuckers. I was like, oh my God, let me out of here.
That is a bar.
Yeah.
That is a bar. Oh my God. How many how many guns do you think were in the car?
I
Even
guess
if you didn't see them.
but yeah, maybe 3. I don't know.
I mean,
That's
as
my
you should.
guess. That's my
like.
consulting interview guess. That's my Deloitte interview.
Yeah.
Trying to say, okay, yeah, I guess Joe would have one. Maybe there's one left over, perhaps one in the trunk. But I will say,
remainder gun.
And
Carry the remainder.
A .5.
like how many golf balls fit in a 747? How many guns fit in the cherry red Cadillac that Joe was driving you and Snoop Dogg?
That's hilarious. Was it like inconspicuous, or was it like, oh, somebody rich is in this car?
Well, when we got all the way downtown, we found an outdoor soup kitchen thing, which I don't feel good about what happened now. And I didn't have any control over it, but Snoop just decided to get out and just make it rain on probably like 50
That's
unhoused people and so everyone's like Snoop, and everyone's genuinely excited because there is money raining in the air, and holy shit,
$40.
that's Snoop Dogg, and so then Snoop starts to feel a little like worried, and he gets in the car, and then everyone is just like mobbing the car, and suddenly Snoop and Joe are scared, and I was like, oh wait, I was scared of them. And now they're scared of the situation. That means that I'm extra scared.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Joe never reached for a gun at that point, which would have been a bad move,
Right,
obviously.
yeah. That would be kind of crazy.
That would have been national news.
Made it rain and then just shot them. That is like Hunger Games level rich people.
Thankfully, that didn't happen, and he just sort of like slowly edged the car out. Nobody was hurt.
Not funny, but it's just the chaotic energy of what could have happened.
Well, I mean, with how, it's not funny, but that's why, like, you can't not laugh at something that just horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, make it rain on them.
But just knowing how some people
shoot them.
right? Knowing how some people are in America about guns, I could easily see them like, yeah, you got your right. Yes, you're right. To, it's like people are psychopaths. Luckily, Joe wasn't.
Yeah,
what a crazy day. That's wild.
it was crazy. And then they just dropped me downtown.
They were just like, we're done with you now.
and that's how I know he didn't know my name, because as I was getting, it was like 7th, I don't know. It was some random intersection downtown. This was before Uber
I was going to say Uber, that's pre-Uber 2013.
Yeah, and my car was in Hollywood. And
Hollywood is not close to downtown for the non-LA people.
correct. And as I got out of the car, Snoop said, hey, what was your name, cuz? And I was like, Julian. He was like, thanks, Julian. And I was like, oh.
How'd you get home?
Didn't know my name the whole time.
You...
I was going to call a taxi, and then...
You forgot that you took out all $840 of your savings and had no money left.
Right, but the photographer and publicist had still not caught up with us, so they called me again, and I was like, "Hey, we're done. I'm downtown. I guess I'm gonna call a cab," and they picked me up and they took me back to my car.
How many hours was this later? Like, how many hours were they trying to keep up with you?
I think it all happened over the course of an hour or two.
Oh, that is
actually there were pictures of it, so I guess they caught up there. And then once we were being mobbed, Joe like sped off once he got out away from the people, and then he dropped me off.
That's incredible.
But yeah, my boss was pissed that he gave it away to like all at once, and I was like,
it's actually kind of a cool story though.
It was again it wasn't a good thing that it was not the right way to give money to unhoused people, but. It did make for a cool picture and a cool story. And also I was like, okay, well, I was going to do exactly what they wanted, because he did hold me at knife point a little bit earlier. And she was like, oh, I didn't realize that. Are you okay?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Shout out to Joe. I need to bring him on the next episode of Callbacks.
I mean, you probably could. I've looked him up. He goes to like animation conventions because he still draws.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah. When I looked
like
him
an
up
actual
last,
artist.
Yeah.
That's dope. Shout out to Joe. Cousin Joe.
I need Cousin Joe on this podcast.
We all need
I think he goes
Joe.
by Cool Joe, which I think is an allusion to the fact that Snoopy's alter ego was Joe Cool. So there's Snoop Dogg and
Snoop
Cool.
Dogg.
Yeah.
That's clever. That's incredible. And also a worthwhile date. I mean, we usually like to do multiple, but when it's a date that big, I mean, do you really need? I mean, come on, Snoop Dogg, knife point, making it rain.
That's
guns.
elite. That's
just elite. That must
no guns. They were just asked if there were guns.
Implied guns.
I know.
I just asked randomly, but he didn't say anything about.
Yeah, I mean,
let's not put a gun charge on the street.
Yeah, come on. I like that guy.
My bad. Yeah. Before we, if you want to keep you just for a little bit longer before we get out of here, you just got back from Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, it's like the biggest comedy festival in the world. It's very alty. There's some mainstream stuff, but it's, you're kind of in the alt humor sect.
I'm an
world.
alt guy.
Yeah, you like to do musical comedy as well. Chicken Poop for the Soul, a big inspiration for you.
Yes.
A parody of the Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul. You never heard of those books?
Oh, Chicken Soup. I've heard it. Yeah.
Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul. Chicken Soup for the.
I've heard of Chicken Soup. Yeah.
It was a big moms in the 90s had it.
Right. Yeah. It was moms in the 90s type thing. So
maybe white moms in the 90s.
Yeah.
What do you think is a bigger influence on your comedy career? Chicken Poop for the Soul or your crush on Jane Krakowski and Ally McBeal as an 11-year-old?
Well, first of all,
the date, or is this you just find a random fact?
This is just a random fact.
Okay.
And you're saying you didn't get those from Kristen?
Brother, no, I do this for real.
He was not familiar.
I can show you the message that I can show. Half that I got from her.
The Jane Krakowski or the Chicken Poop?
The Chicken Poop.
Chicken Poop for the Soul, also, we should say, it was a parody book.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with parody when I was in middle school.
Right.
And anything, if there was anything that was making fun, and I just thought it was also such an amazing undertaking that somebody said, okay, this is the stupidest idea possible. We're gonna fully rewrite a Chicken Soup for the Soul book, but we're gonna make them all stupid, and we're gonna call it Chicken Poop for the Soul. And I thought it was ambitious and so dumb. And so I think I have to go with, I think Chicken Poop for the Soul is like deep in me, but having a crush on Jane Krakowski and Ally McBeal brought me to, at least partially, brought me to 30 Rock, which I think is also one of it's probably pound for pound my favorite show of all time. And I think that sometimes my humor aligns with that a little bit. So I just edge it towards Chicken Poop for the Soul, but it might be more visible, the Jane Krakowski Ally McBeal crush.
Famous white women?
Yeah. Jane Krakowski. You know the show 30 Rock with Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
Jane Krakowski's like the blonde.
Oh, so this whole time I'm thinking this is like some random like high school like girl that named.
You really don't know white women.
I don't.
I went to high school with Jane Krakowski. No.
Yeah, right.
She was hot.
30 Rock is a good show. Definitely. Got a lot of bits.
I also just started watching The Diplomat on Netflix, and I remembered that my first ever crush, which this would have been crazy if you had pulled it out, I'm pretty sure was
at the same time.
1, 2, 3.
I definitely don't have.
Carrie Russell in Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Blew up the kid?
Yeah, it was the sequel where the toddler, they accidentally make a big ray, and the toddler, and he looks like, because at some point he gets like Godzilla size because they realize that neon is what feeds him. He goes to Vegas and he just gets massive. But when he's like 8 feet tall.
He was just doing sequels for anything.
Yeah.
It was great. He looks exactly like Jack Harlow is all I was going to say. And we all know I love me some Jack Harlow.
You've talked about that a lot.
You do.
And we don't even talk that much. So it's crazy that you've heard about my Jack Harlow.
Every
love.
time it's like, hey, Danny, nice to meet you. Also, have you heard of Jack Harlow? I'm like, okay, dude, I don't even know you.
He listens to 2 albums.
3? What do you like? What? So you've been in LA for how long? 2013.
12 years. I've been in LA since 2011.
So as a black, how the fuck do you even get to Fringe? Like, what is Fringe, real quick? And like,
I'm white. I should say I'm not a black man.
Yeah, if you're listening right now.
Oh, so you're saying as the black man that you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
As what African American? I prefer African American actually.
African American. I apologize.
That, yeah.
Of course.
I'll say black. You say African.
I'll say African American.
Thank you. But Fringe, like so it's for the people that don't know what Fringe is. How do you do Fringe?
So
sign up, get there, all that shit.
It's not like a lot of comedy festivals or film festivals or theater festivals where it's like you apply to the festival. There's like a single point of entry. Like what you've done festivals before? Mm-hmm. Name one.
Northwest Black Comedy Festival. I did 2020.
Northwest Black Comedy Festival.
Well, I
thought it was a trick. Northwest African American Comedy Festival.
It was the black for us.
Yeah, for us, we say black.
He's invited to the cookout as we've already discussed.
This podcast is going to get me canceled from soundbites.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I love you all. Continue.
So you probably apply, like sent in tape to one thing. For Fringe, it's literally if you can find a venue in Edinburgh, Scotland during the month of August, or if you're standing in the street, you are a part of the festival. Like there is no, it's basically like, to some degree, it is anarchist. Like there's nobody who's saying you're a part of the festival, you're not a part of the festival.
But I mean, there are venues that are tougher to get.
Yes, and there are a ton. So basically, there are a ton of different kind of producer, like venue operators, who you apply to the venue operators to try to get the venue. You can also, like theoretically, if you knew someone who owned a barbershop in Edinburgh, and you said, "Hey, can I for 1 hour a day perform in the corner of the barbershop?" Then you're still a part of the festival. You can get in the program if you want to. But you basically have to apply. Really, you should apply to like, 3 to 5 different venue operators. And it can be expensive. There are also a couple of free festival. They call themselves the Free Fests, and they argue over who's more free, and it's dumb politics. But they both run like hundreds of venues. So you can get the venue for free, but that means it might be kind of a shitty venue or like off the beaten path. But a lot of people really like the free shows.
And was yours free or no?
No, mine was, this is my second year. Last year I went with a friend and he just connected with someone on Facebook. And so we got in last year. I haven't gotten paid out for this year. Last year it came out to us both having spent, I think it was about 300 or 400 pounds on the venue over alone. 24 shows though. So it's that's not too bad. And so, that's the venue part of it is the biggest part. And then you got to find a place to stay. I happen to have a friend from middle school who lives there now. So that was free? I get to stay with her. Cheap? Yeah.
Damn, that's tight.
Yeah. But there's like, I know people who stayed in dorms and it was like $2,000 for the month, which is expensive, but
you live in LA. That's so cheaper than LA.
Right. 2 quick questions then. 1, did you have fun and did you know other people there? And then 2, do you feel funnier afterwards?
I had, so this is my second time. Last time was truly the most rewarding and fulfilling experience of my adult life. Yeah. Like it maybe in some ways saved my life a little bit. Like it was really just so nice to be able to say, oh, I'm doing a half-hour of comedy tonight. I did a half-hour of comedy yesterday. I'm going to do a half-hour of comedy tomorrow. I like all of the shit that we worry about, the rat race stuff, like just melts away. And you get to meet a lot of other, I loved it so much. And yes, I don't know. I definitely feel funnier. Yeah. I think it's also when you're like, this time I just did the half run. So I did 10 shows. I did an hour each. So I did an hour, 10 nights in a row. And that's like the goal. Like that's as you're putting out your special, doing the big, like this is a project. This is a thing that you can sit and watch is always, I think, the goal. The thing that I'm recognizing now is I think I'm better right now at that length. And then there are some jokes where I'm like, oh wait, I forgot that joke doesn't really have an ending right now because the ending is the beginning of another joke. Exactly. Right. So now I'm in the like, great, you've got your hour, keep fine tuning that, but also turn all of the pieces into like pieces that can exist on their own. That is the one, I know I got to leave in a second, but that is the one thing that I'm going through now. It's like, before I put my special out, I'll sometimes still do the jokes at like shows now for this month in between. And you realize, like this, I don't have the setup anymore because it's supposed to be kind of information of this little connected. Yeah, this whole little thing. So it's like, it's weird doing like 8-minute spots and 10-minute spots when your brain's been so kind of programmed, or at least thinking about half hours, at least 20 minutes, 45. Longer sets. So I don't know. It's just like a thing that I'm going through right now in my brain too. Like, damn, bro, like some of my jokes that I know are funny aren't killing as much but it's like, oh, I'm not setting it up. I'm just saying like one-liners with filler words pretty much. Yeah, which it's a good problem to have. I would much prefer to have that problem than have a bunch of jokes that work in a 3-minute mic set that won't actually feel fulfilling when you put them all together into an hour. That is true.
Well, we appreciate you coming through the old studio. Before you get out of here, at Julian M. Stern on all socials. What else?
Correct.
What else would you like to plug?
You know, my weekly newsletter, the Sternal Journal.
Ooh.
I think I do some pretty
I'm a subscriber.
pretty cool stuff on there. My podcast, A Violent Act of Desperation, comes out every now and then.
Nice.
Working on getting it weekly. I think that's it. Sternal Journal is where
Shout out to
it
all
all
the
is.
African Americans too. He wanted me to tell y'all that.
Yes, and I want to
What's
say
your favorite?
I want to say thank you, and I'm sorry for
Jack Harlow.
everything and whatever to all African American people.
Yeah. Looking to all.
Also,
of our
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but we're in WTF Media Studios,
Yeah.
and at some point in the near future, I believe the next season of Sex Sells is coming out, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
on what is. I hope this isn't embargoed, but I'm on the Dick Roundtable,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to be a pretty fun episode. So look out for that.
I forgot. Yeah.
the
shout out
owner of
to-
the studio who's been on the podcast, Wheezy, WTF Wheezy.
Yeah.
It's her show.
Sick.
You were on it, bringing it all together.
But you were asking for my favorite.
Black. Or in your case, African American.
Does it have to be someone that I've met?
I mean,
I can't believe we're going through this, but please
Alive.
make it quick. Oh my god!
I also
so uncomfortable.
and I just remembered that Danny's the one who does all the clips. So this is going to be, I really got to stick the landing here.
I don't think you're going to.
Can I pick? I mean, first of all, let me say,
We don't.
it's definitely hard to pick one.
we're waiting.
Because
Keep on digging, brother.
if I had to pick, I would definitely pick at least 10 million.
Blacks.
Yeah.
That feels like kind of like slavery. Like I'm picking
Oh God, no. Yeah. No.
tens of millions of black people. Ooh, it's Julian.
If I were to, yeah. This,
We are almost out of time, so you better stick this landing quick.
oh God. I mean, no one has ever, you know what? I'm going to give it to the only cool Joe, you know? He gave me a great story. He gave me
His
life
bodyguard.
experience.
All right.
Yeah.
Good Joe. Y'all want
Yeah.
he fake stabbed you?
I mean, I would have said Jesus Christ.
He didn't actually stab me. Jesus Christ.
Jesus. Thank you so much, Julian. Appreciate you.
We love you so much. Please follow him at Julian M. Stern.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we are
So thankful for Julian Stern.
that boy. He know his host, co-host. Don't he?
I saw the brief pause and you're like, wait, where am I going with this for a second? And we're just so grateful for Julian Stern. What a great guy.
Because I was gonna jump into song, like an actual different song, but then you knew exactly what I needed to say.
Hey man, we balance each other out. You're the yin to my yang. We're glad Julian stopped by. Check him out at Julian M. Stern. He's doing shows all over LA currently. He's got a great the Sternal Journal, as I'm sure he mentioned. Check it out. His Substack.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah.
Unbelievable guy.
Tight.
We stand Julian Stern. Before we get into your ism, would just like to say,
I typically don't trust long-haired white men, but go ahead, finish.
oh yeah, he is. You know, he's got the man. He's aggressively millennial, still skinny jeans, still man bun, and I respect him. He's just staying in.
He's one of the
his
few.
lane.
He's one of the few.
I'm
Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. Real quick before we get to our second favorite segment, Danny's ism, we would like to invite you cordially to leave us a review. Apple
Please.
Podcasts, Spotify.
Please do that shit.
Thanks to the people who reached out. I had someone who reached out saying sorry to hear about my mom. I had a couple people give their own mental health checks.
Look, man, we want to build a community of friends, lovers. I mean, not lovers, sorry.
Well, it could be lovers if it's the right fit for you.
But vibes though. So like interact with us, DM us, hit us,
Yeah.
send us stuff.
Real quick, and actually on that note, I forgot to bring it up during mental health check. Shout out our boy Trey.
Trey now.
He says his mental health is like when you go to the gym to lose weight, but you get an upsized combo meal on the way home.
Yeah.
Been there, brother.
Why not? Sweating, still musty and sweaty, but you know, these fries bust.
And this is my favorite one. He said, my mental health is like working on extra credit for a class you already have an A on instead of studying for a class you're at risk of failing.
Yeah, why would I double down on I'm good here.
I'm sticking to my strengths.
Yeah, if I'm gonna fail hard.
Yeah. So shout
hilarious.
out Trey for sharing those, and shout out
Trey.
Jen, who was saying about the CDs when we were talking about burning CDs. She was saying in her day the double boom boxes, burning the cassettes. I had friends who did that at least, where they would put a cassette in a boom box and record the radio so they could fast forward through commercials and everything when they listened to it later.
Do you remember those big radios where they had the two speakers in like the main thing?
Yeah.
That was like a thing back in the day.
Right.
I remember when I got one for the first time. That was like the coolest little. Like, this is crazy how technology. I don't know, talking in circles, but it's just like when you got that, it was the coolest thing. Like, we still have game systems and stuff, but having that was like, because that was the first time you could kind of express your own artistic taste, because you could change the channel or you could play your little CDs.
Right.
The thing is, I don't know, as a parent, it feels there's so many things you have to worry about as a parent, but it does seem cool to give your kids opportunity to pick their own likes and their tastes and stuff like that. Because that was like the first time you can, I like this radio channel, or I like this CD a bunch.
Get to express a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, Danny, before we get out of here, hit him with the segment we call Danny's Isms, aka Life Lessons with Danny.
Look, it's pretty simple. Fuck bitter people. That's what it is. That's really what it is.
For those of you not watching, I like how it was like he took a breath like, I'm going to go on this very like TED Talk, official, elegant. And then the look in his eyes was like, you know what? Nah, I don't mess with bitter people.
Because it's just like that. I don't want to be super, including everybody in this, but there's just some people maybe on social media or people from like your hometowns or people that like even where you started comedy at, and you see certain things about comedy or other people's success. And I'll give the honest example real quick before we go. This comedian Country Wayne, he's an internet comedian. He just had a Netflix special.
Yeah, he's like number 2 on Netflix trending or whatever.
And I watched the special, and it was fine. It was a fine special. It wasn't a great special, but it was good, and it was whatever.
Yeah. And
then I saw people on Facebook talking about it, and like some comedian I know from Chicago posted just like asking a typical question, just stirring up conversation around comedy. Then someone in his comments commented like annoyed kind of by it and like, yo, I worked too hard in this thing for just people to be like making a mockery of stand-up or for it to be mid or whatever.
Right.
And to a degree, sure, we've all kind of felt some way about somebody's success or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just so tired of like thinking that just because somebody else got something means that my work or my worth or my talent are lesser.
Right.
Or my chances of something are lesser.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating because you'll go crazy every single time somebody gets something. You'll fucking be miserable.
Right. I think it's funny too and in that example, maybe that person has been working a lot harder, a lot longer, but especially with internet stuff, people like Joe Dombrowski, who we had on one of the early episodes, a good example. He has a huge social media following because one day he went super viral for a prank he pulled on his students, and then he gets on Ellen, and now he's touring the nation, and like his whole thing is like an overnight success is never overnight. Like, because of the Ellen show, it was overnight that his following took off, but he had been doing stand-up comedy for over a decade. Like he had already, so it's so funny when people see something on the internet, they just like, the bitterness of, you just assume like, oh, they didn't work harder, they don't deserve that. It's like, okay, well, that might not be the way you want to do it, but at least take it as that's a playbook now that you have access, that you can see like, okay, what do I want to take from their success that I can use as my own, and what don't I like about their success? Yeah. To your point, like use that bitter energy towards like, oh, how can I use that for myself? Yeah. Learn from it, all the sums of how people got places, make an average of that, and then help that inform your next move. But it's just like, I don't know, this is weird. A lot of weird energy sometimes from people, and it's just like, dog, let that, like, just be happy. Even if you don't love the thing, just be happy that person got it, because they worked their ass off to get it. Right. Life's too short to be bitter. That has been another episode of Callbacks with me. I'm Sam Salem. My co-host Danny Sellers. Follow him at Follow Sellers. Please do that. Me at Samuel Sleeves. And may